Morning's newspapers. Nikki and Emma are still with us and join us there in the big screen. Hello again to you guys. Thanks for being with us and staying with us. All right, Nikki, let's crack on then. We're going to go into the Observer now and let's bring this story up. My future's been stolen. 12% rate on student loans condemned as outrageous. Now, as someone who is still paying off their student loan, thankfully I took out mine before 2012, but this is still concerning about the way that this next generation will be hit with interest.
Yes, very much so, and I'm still paying mine, so my interest was definitely piqued when I saw this story. So it's the notion that the interest rate, which was always promised to be no higher than market rate on a student loan, is going to go up to 12% for some people that took a loan out after 2012. Now, it's important to say that the monthly payments that people make won't go up, but the interest will obviously be applied to the total of the loan, so people will be paying back their loans for longer. And the fear from the Tory party, no less, is that this is going to put people off going to university, because the very nature of the student loan, although we know it dissolves after 30 years if you don't pay it, it's meant to be a very low rate of interest which doesn't affect your credit score. The very notion of taking out a 12% interest rate loan is going to just be too much for some people, and it's an issue of social mobility. You know, the fact is, student loans were always promised to be an access to education, not a barrier. And if the interest rate goes up to 12%, that is going to stop people taking them out.
Yeah, it is. And Emma, this is an interesting one, isn't it? Because as Nikki said, I have been paying close attention to this for exactly the reasons that she mentioned. And it's the past couple of weeks, there has been sort of briefing back and forth that this is being mooted, but actually won't be brought in really, because we're going to try and protect those students who've taken out that loan. So what's your thoughts on what we're seeing in the reporting this morning?
Well, yeah, I recently got a letter out of the blue saying you have paid your final instalment. It was an amazing feeling. It really is. You just feel like you're paying it forever and ever and ever, every single month. I think we need to be clear about student loans. A lot of people will not actually pay them back in their lifetime. I do think that, you know, further education, higher education is a huge privilege. And as Nikki says, it is a very low level of interest rate. And I think that, you know, actually it's worth it. I actually, you know, and we're all suffering. We're all suffering in the cost of living crisis at the moment, in the cost of living crunch. I think that students who are going to go on and probably get higher paid jobs than non-graduates do need to also contribute to society. So it is a really difficult one. I don't want to punish students, but I do think that, you know, when they get those higher paid jobs, if they do, then they can start affording to pay it back.
Yeah, absolutely, but cost of living, I suppose, hits everyone, doesn't it? All right, let's stay with the education sector, and this is really about funding as well, and that's certainly how I am reading this story, because this is the front page of the Sunday Express. Emma, free tuition pledge for all pupils, the Education Secretary says. He's going to be on Sophie Ridge in about 40 minutes' time, but when reading through the story, I was like, okay, great, but how are we going to pay for all these tutors?
Exactly. So this is the Education Secretary, Nadhim Zahawi, saying that the personal tuition programme that was set up to help disadvantaged students and to help people really suffering during the pandemic, because obviously there was lockdown, schools were closed, a lot of students missed out, well, all students missed out on a huge amount of class time, of face-to-face time, of contact and just education and really, really important work. He wants this programme to be extended. So it's going to be offered to all students in England, apparently, all those students in danger of falling behind. You know, it's not free tuition, because obviously taxpayers will be paying for it. But Nadhim Zahawi is saying that tuition has been a luxury that basically, you know, only the wealthier can afford, and that he and the Prime Minister are committed to making this available to all pupils, all students. So, got to be good news.
Yeah, it should be. But Nikki, again, I mean, great premise, but I just do wonder how it will be paid for, and where are you going to get all these tutors from? Because isn't there a shortage of qualified teachers?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I think. I mean, what is so distressing is that this will really bring to a level the students that have fallen so far behind in the pandemic to the level they're expected to be at, presumably, at this point in their education. Meanwhile, rich students with rich parents can still afford that extra private tuition, which is going to set them even further above. So it will close the gap, but only close the gap to what it was before. It won't improve the fact that the richest can still accelerate the progress of their children.
Yeah, absolutely right. Okay, and let's just go to one more story. We haven't got endless time, so let's get through this one quickly if we can. This is when you picked out, Nikki, from the inside page. I think that's of the Sunday Times. And this is about dementia, and sticking with the education theme, aren't we, guys? How better educated people can apparently hide it for longer.
Yeah, so this is very much double-edged blessing, double-edged sword, really, because what it's saying is that if you're better educated, you have something called a kind of cognitive load, which prevents you from showing some of the earlier signs of dementia and kind of protects you. It works as a sort of barrier in your brain. But the problem is that there are about 200,000 people a year that are diagnosed with dementia. Many of those go under the radar. They're not actually seen. And the problem is that actually, if you are better educated, it might take you longer to get help.
Yeah, absolutely right. And Emma, you were nodding along with that. We haven't got much time, about 30 seconds. Just your thoughts then on that.
No, we just know that socioeconomic, privilege gives you better health outcomes at all levels. You are more likely to go and seek medical help, to be pushy, to get the treatment that you need, or even to pay privately if you are richer and more well educated. And so, poorer, more disadvantaged people are being hit across the board, and dementia is absolutely no exception to that.
Okay, Emma and Nikki, thank you so much. Have a lovely Sunday, guys, and I hope to speak to you again very soon. All right, well, still to come on Sky News at breakfast is Ukraine rules out a ceasefire and Russia intensifies its battle for the Donbass. We'll have all the very latest on the war in Ukraine throughout the day here on Sky News.